See how this is actually working. It looks like it's right. Okay. All right. Hey guys, Evan Alfonso here, signing on for today. Sorry it's been so long since I have posted anything. I've just been working a whole lot and haven't really had time to post on YouTube lately. So I thought I'd post another one, see how it does and stuff like that. Today we'll be going over the 4th episode of the Deity's Heart. And time coming for Deity's Heart episode 4. Episode 5 is on the way. I haven't figured out how to really go about doing it yet. I mean, I have an idea, but you save episode 4. There you go. All right. So you guys know the drill about this. I'll be going over what happened in this episode. If those of you who don't remember what happened in the 3rd episode, check out that video. It is on the YouTube channel, and it's also on my Facebook channel as well. So I'm so tired, guys. So I've heard you guys. What we have going on here is that, let's see if I remember correctly. There's fighting that doesn't very long because me isn't as strong then, but she is still strong. They have a little fight, and then we have the goddess of time enter at the very end, saying what the hell's going on. Travis ends up in the Heart Truth. The next part in the Heart Truth, Travis up fighting with Ilya and Edvin about, hey, this fight was just getting good and stuff like that. Is what's going on here. It's basically just with Edvin and Ilya talking back and forth with what is going on with Naomi. In this episode, a lot actually, a lot more than what happens in the other episodes that I have so far. So with this episode, a lot. I don't even know how to explain how much actually happened because it goes from like 0 to 90 in this episode, and we end up seeing that Naomi isn't the right person for the goddess position because that she is something called a doppelganger. She is the doppelganger of the person that he actually needed to find. So he's going to be going back to find the girl that he needs, and he actually already knows who it is. But the problem is he needs to bring back the universe. If you guys remember, I said that Evan's universe has been destroyed, and by whom, you might ask, is by Lucifer. I don't think I haven't talked about that a lot. It was Lucifer's idea to the universe. That way, they couldn't have a successor for the overseer god, which is Edvin. Tried to destroy it, but it was after Edvin refused to go with Lucifer to be his descendant after Lucifer. Lucifer didn't quite like that and decided to, hey, why not just destroy it? That way nothing actually happens, because Lucifer already knew that Edvin is also supposed to be the overseer god's descendant as well as the um, the underworld's overseer, which is what Lucifer's position is. So that ended up being a lot of different powers that we used here. We have prismatic time sphere. This is basically a wormhole that doesn't allow anyone else besides the people that are going in it that he allows to go in it. And anyone that ends up going in it that is not allowed ends up getting spit out somewhere else. That's what it basically does. Actually, it could actually trap them there too as well if they ended up going in. Because Evan thought that Naomi might have been a better but she wasn't. She's just not the right person fit for it. Now, you're good to sit right there. There's a lot to go over in the fourth episode. I mean, we've talked about it.
I also got you pulled up on my phone.
Yeah, but on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're subscribed to my YouTube channel. Forgot about that. But there's a decent amount to really go over here. Right now we're just gonna unfold it a little bit. So we start with Edvin getting cocky like he always is. It says, "I won't be going easy on you, so better get all your shit together." And it was just goes, "Let's do this." And then we have Evan saying that that's what I want to hear. And Travis like, "This is gonna be good." And then Levy's like, "You're right about that, Travis." Kimber's like, "Let's see how this goes." Kimber's just like that one that's like, I made Kimber basically like the like she has like a strong sense of justice and a strong sense of her position that she has. So she doesn't like seeing gods fight with each other. But with this one, that was inevitable. Thank you, inevitable. And sorry, I just woke up, so it's not really good to say big words right now. It was inevitable because whenever someone ends up going into a position like this and they just become a god or goddess, they want to test out their powers, and the only people really test out their powers are with gods and or goddesses. But Naomi wanted to test her luck with Edvin. Did not work out very well. She tries to do something that he does and uses time sphere. And for those of you who don't know, time sphere is a wide range of different things that actually can happen. The time sphere for Edvin is basically his domain. It's what he can do. It's one of his powers, and Naomi tries to use it. They end up going to Edvin's time sphere instead of her own because she doesn't have time sphere since it's one of Edvin's main powers that he gets what he got before he actually turned into a god. He didn't know about it until Lucifer pointed it out, and he wanted that power for himself. Didn't end up getting it, but he ended up training with him a little bit, and he ended up learning how to go into a overlord pillar, which is what we'll see later on in this episode as well. Because in this episode, we end up bringing back Edvin's universe. In the fifth episode, however, we'll be going back over what actually happened back then, how it actually ended up getting destroyed. It was actually a matter of fact that Edvin was trying to stop Lucifer, but his time sphere was not strong enough in order to stop everything, which is why Edvin's time sphere is a wasteland, because it's of his dying world. It is being his world was being eaten up by something called a void, kind of like a black hole turning into a void or a supernova, and ended up destroying everything, and left Edvin's time sphere kind of just out of whack, not as good as it usually is. But once we brought back the universe, Evan's time sphere will probably be a lot better than it was. So let's have that. We got this. We have a couple powers right here that I really like. So we have a couple different types of powers of Edmonds while we're in the time sphere. We have time prism, we have time prismatic, and then we also have, I think we also have a couple others that come up later on that are also time related. Because Edmonds basically not only got a creation and destruction, he's also the one that oversees all of time, as well as Elia and her other half, who we have not met, and we'll probably be seeing him in the fifth episode. So that's a lot that comes over here. So let's go over these powers a little bit. Time Prism is a power that encases someone in a crystal-like state and isn't able to really be broken because they use in Time Prism they use time and crystal substances to combine with each other in order for it to stay. But with Naomi, she is able to destroy it with something called Shatter, which is her main power. What Shatter basically does is exactly how it sounds. It breaks anything that comes in contact with her, or over time. In this case, because she's not in tune with her powers yet, so not fully anyway. And then Time Prismatic is what ends the fight. Time Prismatic stops time and the prism type. It stops everything basically. Anything he wants to stop time and stop anything from happening, he can do so by activating this ability. This ability, literally, what he does is he activates it towards the time prism in order for it to stop shattering, and then reverses the time delay, and then encloses her back up again, up until right about her head, and leaves her there for a little. And it's going out of the universe, and then he just stops doing that. Probably put something with that in there, but we got some banter between Travis, Ilya, and Edvin a little bit. Not a whole lot, but we got that. And then we are going over in the hard truth. We're going over that Evan's universe is still there, and so is the character that we will be introducing in the fifth episode and sixth episode. Her name is Scott, SK, and he was his wife for about 10 years before the universe inevitably got destroyed. So we have that. So there's a lot going to be going on in the fifth episode, and a lot of turmoil is going to happen. Got you, bitch. Sorry, Nat. As you know, I put everything in parentheses. Is basically them either talking to themselves or talking via mind. It only really activates when Evan starts it because it's one thing that he's able to do, but it's also something Elia is able to do because she uses time delay as well. So similar to time delay. It's we're not going to be going over that yet until the fifth episode to be able to try to stop Lucifer, but it's going to be inevitable for it to happen. He basically goes, so Naomi isn't who she really is. She isn't the person that needs to be here. She honestly figured it out as soon as she started fighting him and realized that she's not the one that's supposed to be the goddess, the overseer goddess. It was supposed to be Sky. So They talk about some of that stuff and about the universe and how it's still sort of intact, but the void's still trying to take over. Um, those of you who don't know, Edvin activated the time sphere to try to keep the void from spreading around. And there's a lot of stuff I have not gone over yet in this in his universe, but Sky is still technically alive because Sky was reborn, but reborn as a doppelganger to be used to resurrect, say, or bring back Sky, bring her back to life. Basically, just resurrect. Um, this one we use prismatic time spear. That's the one I already talked about. And this one we have Edvin's universe reappears. So they talk about his universe a little bit and how to bring it back. And in order to do so, they have to enter their Pillar 9 states, which is the reason why he brought Nami with him. This one we talk about bringing back the universe, and then we end up taking Naomi and Ilya to make sure Edvin doesn't far exceed his limits because he's going to be using something that you guys might think is pretty intriguing. So, in this one, okay, then let's go then. Yeah, we end up snapping, and then Anthony says to Naomi and to Ilya that they're going to somewhere else. So, time chasm is something that teleports him to his universe. It also does other things that actually is much more powerful. People know that, but that when he uses that, everyone that's in that area of who he says is going with him goes with him to his universe. As long as they're touching him, it kind of works kind of like the instant transmission, but in this case, it's already set destination because he has infinite knowledge of where everything's at, just like all the other gods and goddesses does. So time chasm is like an instant, like 1 second delay to go somewhere, anywhere. But if it's closer, it's probably less. It just depends on how far it is, but inevitably, depending on how far it is, it will always be 1 second, or if it's closer, it'll be less than 1 second of a delay to go. Now, when they enter this void, the first thing he does, I do believe, since he's in his universe, he's fine to roam around as normal, so he can go in his Pillar 9 state without actually hurting himself, quote unquote. But still going into a overlord. We have over here, which is the maximum overlord, which is Pillar 9. We have two Pillar 9 states for Edvin. This is Overload. Edvin's is Overlord. Maximus Overlord. Pillar 9. And then all the other gods and goddesses are Maximum Overload. The reason why it's called Maximum Overload is that as it states, it's at its maximum tier of power, but it also has a time limit. Edvin's does not. Every god and goddesses other pillars are not time delayed and do not have time limits, but their ninth pillar does. The only reason is that it's so powerful that it could bend time. It could either destroy it or bend it if they're not careful, if they're not in sync with each other. But they've had training and they train in the celestial planes in their own sort of dimension to kind of like the hyperbolic time chamber, but it's stronger. Can't really be destroyed. Um, Not even God or not even Edvin can destroy it. He probably could, but he doesn't have to. I wouldn't. I don't know yet. There's gonna probably be some scenes that we have from training with Sky. We bring her back for that. So we got a lot of stuff that happens in Saving Edvin's universe. We got Elia going to this maximum overload pillar doesn't have a time limit because she's because her stuff is time based, so she can keep her maximum pillar, her pillar 9 state as long as she wants, as long as she's using some type of time delay. Jeez, that's weird to say. Some type of time delay. Okay, so with these, when Elia enters her pillar 9 state, it distorts time. In this case, it's distorting the void. Actually, distorts the void's reality. Her basic power is time and reality. And when Naomi comes in, it fractures stuff. So basically, anything that's there to harm her can't. So when she launches her Pillar 9 state, what it does is it fractures the entire void. Because it's trying to hurt her, because Sky is still there. Technically. We didn't go over that, but she's in the void somewhere. And I can't say that. I can't say that because that's a big thing. That's gonna be going over how we're gonna end up finding Sky. Because we'll be going back in time to get Sky. We'll be going back in time to get Sky. And back in 2025. No, what would suck is that 2025 is the actual time when the Earth starts to destroy itself. You hear about we're not gonna go over that yet. There's a lot of stuff happening in 2020 right now. So much shit out in the space right now with the sun going into remission. Planets playing peekaboo with us and just vanishing. And something enter in a black hole and causing almost something like a supernova, maybe. I'm not sure. I didn't read up too much, but there's a lot of shit happening in our universe right now, out in space. Whole lot of shit. From the remainder of this stuff, people are talking in their inner selves, their minds, because Evan doesn't want to talk with this type of thing because it's very much scary. It's very much scary. So now we get to go over what happens when Edvin goes into a Pillar 9 state. In this case, in his Pillar 9 state, we're going into Overlord Pillar, which is Ultimaximus Overlord. Okay, so what this does is I will read the narrator position words here. With this, Edvin's hair changes from white to silver. His tattoos span across his entire body. His attire changes from white cloak to a black and gold cloak. Those of you who don't know what a cloak is, it's basically their aura that surrounds them constantly.
You're gonna bark at me for leaving the damn room? Shit. Just go into the bathroom.
You're dumb. Arr, arr, arr. God damn. So that's what a cloak is, but it's also a type of clothing that they wear in order to keep from getting damaged from any outsourced material. They're surrounded by this aura that's a godly aura or a goddess like aura. But in this case, it's not a god aura. He turns it into a god aura. but it's originally a demonic aura. Woof, woof. It's basically a demonic aura for Edvin to use in a god state form. He combines both the Pillar 9 state and the demonic pillar states. I do not have a name for what the power scaling what we're going to use for the demonic planes yet, but we're going to probably use Overlord pillars or something on those lines. So with the Overlord pillar for Pillar 9, not only does it combine his celestial power, it combines his. Not only does it maximize his Pillar 9 state, his pillar states to his maximum potential, especially since he doesn't have any seals. He only has his tattoos. And his tattoos are not actually technically tattoos at this point, and they're not seals either. They're power strips that can span whenever he goes into another pillar. So right now he has a. So in this case, let's take my tattoos for instance. We have a dragon on this one, and then we have Phoenix on this one. They in pillar 1 they stay like this. In pillar 2 they expand to just the arm, but half the arm, and then they go down to the full arm with kind of like a tribal look. It's kind of hard to explain how it really looks. I don't have an actual picture to show you how it really looks because it's not mine, but I have an idea of what I want it to look like, but I haven't got the artwork back for it. Go back to this. Surrounded by a black and gold cloak. Now this is demonic channeling with celestial channeling. That makes more sense. Annie has a pet. A really big and strong pet. He is surrounded by an undead black dragon. And while in this ungodly state, his power engulfs the entirety of the macrocosm. That's the entirety of everything. That's how powerful his Pillar 9 state is. It surrounds all the universes and the entirety of everything in the human world. It also does that in the celestial planes too when he goes into it, and it'll probably do way more if it's in the demonic planes. I'm not sure what I plan to do with that yet, but just depends how I feel like going about it. So I love these lines that we have right here. We have Naomi saying, "Holy hell, what the fuck is that?" And then we have Ilya says, "Haven't seen this in a while." And it says, Naomi is like, "What a drink." And then Evan replies with, "It's actually an undead black dragon." And then Naomi goes with, "That's so fucking cool." And then it's like, Ilya was just like, talks about how dangerous this undead black dragon is in this instance, and this is about how strong it is. And then she replies with, "The hell are you talking about? This thing is so dangerous it could erase time itself." So this thing could go into a universe and erase everything and turn it into a void where nothing happens. No time, no nothing. If it so wanted to. Okay, so here's where we have a whole lot happen. I have a lot of space here. Okay, so I only went to 177 to 179 on this episode because what we're going to be doing in the 5th episode is going over what happened is going to be basically a flashback. Sorry. And this part, we also go over that Naomi is a doppelganger. And the other one, we only notice Ilya only really replies with, "Naomi isn't who she really is supposed to be," which in her terms is she's not supposed to be this goddess. someone else is supposed to be. So I really don't want to say this because this is a lot that happens. Um, so in this episode, Naomi doesn't quite vanish or die. She ends up being put into something called a time hex or a crux of resurrection. What this will do is bring back Sky, but in this point, Naomi and Sky will be one when they are resurrected. Because this is a crystalline time hex, and what it does is it encompasses it like in like a philosopher's stone, and that's the word I've been looking for, philosopher's stone. An actual philosopher's stone, and it's a crux of resurrection. A crux is basically something that has something embedded into it, life into it. Um, the hex is what turned her into the stone. Um, what ended up happening is that since Naomi went into her Pillar 9 state, she was not ready. And not only that, she was in sync with Edvin's Pillar 9 state, which is not a godly state. It's an ungodly state or a combination state. It's a celestial / demonic state. So the demonic power and the celestial power is going through Naomi, and she's getting hit with so much that she can't handle it. So what ends up happening is that she ends up glowing black, and I'll just read this for the narrator. Both Naomi and Ilya nod their head and hold Edvin in his newly attained state. Naomi begins to glow black and red. As all of this is happening, she also begins to perish as well, reverting back to her Pillar 1 state. Edvin then uses a thing that we all know about in our history books known as the Big Bang. We use the Big Bang in the demonic state because Lucifer used something similar to distort time, break time down into a void. But in this case, he uses something to restore time and restore the void back to.
Kristen,
Yes.
please come in here and open this 2-liter for me.
Okay. Will you do that? Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm kind of streaming, but
My hands won't let me do it. Stop.
So
You're just helping me. Stop it. Yeah, you can't hardly do that.
give it here. Oh my dear Lord! I thought you could fuck it. God damn it!
Open 2 liters.
Oh my dear Lord!
Don't wanna.
You can't open it. I'm fucked.
God damn! Give me a second. Give me a second here. My hands are sweaty from the fucking street.
Oh my lord.
1 second. What the fuck did they really fucking do that?
Oh my god.
I think it's just from the pressure from it sitting in
Don't
my.
do that with your teeth.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get it. And open. Oh, there we
Thank you.
Jesus! It's like the fucking new Gatorade bottles.
Yeah, I know.
God! What the fuck are they doing? Trying to keep us from getting soda nowadays? Jesus. Alright, so, sorry about that, guys. So, what the fuck, where was I? God damn it. Oh, God. Woof! Woof!
Be quiet. Not being nice. We gotta get groceries
Yeah, we'll do it. We're good. Adrian and I will be going in the morning. I don't know. Actually, Shannon. Adrian, open up that drawer.
What drawer?
Look.
Well, Jesus, where are you?
That's what those were his from his place, from his parents' place.
That makes me happy.
It's like, let's open that. She'll be happy when she sees that anyway. So a lot happens here. So we got something. That's right. We're talking about the Big Bang. So we all know this as the Big Bang, but this is a Big Bang time fissure. This time fissure breaks. What the time fissure does is it breaks down pretty much since the void is already fractured. He uses time fissure to shatter it completely, restoring time, space, and everything. And then what's happening is he ends up saying something called resurrection, which means he resurrects the universe back to the time before it got destroyed, and it is able to resume without it being engulfed back into a void. Now, those you don't know, Lucifer will be showing up sooner rather than later now, because he will know that he restored time and space and everything within his universe. Meaning, he will have he'll know that Evan is still alive. Sky is now alive. Well, she was already alive, but there's a lot of stuff I can do with that. So what he's end up gonna doing is that he's gonna revert because of what's gonna happening is gonna be pretty interesting in episode 5 because the ending's gonna be really intriguing of what I'm gonna do with it. I have an idea of what I want to do for the ending of the flashback after the universe gets destroyed. But the thing is that we're reverting back time, so everything's gonna go back to what it was. So everything that was there is gonna be there, including Sky is gonna not be where she actually is, and she's gonna be where she was before all this went down. The thing that people know about Sky already knew Edwin was a god. She already knew he was the Overlord God. Because it was his first person that he needed to find, and it was the right person he needed to find. But ended up getting. I don't know what words I want to use for that, but we're gonna go back to this real quick. So, for what happened with the Big Bang time fissure or resurrection, with this white light falls over this entire universe, returns it back to 1 year before it was destroyed. As well, it lets the time flow back to normal, getting rid of the void. After this huge feat, Edvin returns to his Pillar 1 state and is left extremely exhausted. After Edvin drops from his exhaustion, Elia catches him and heals his ailments. Elia uses something that's going to heal both his demonic state and his celestial state, because he used a lot, called Ether's Healing. The one thing they can do is heal other gods. It's what they're good at. They're really good at healing people. Ether's Healing basically heals all the ailments, heals his exhaustion, and pretty much brings him back to full, not quite full, but basically full. That way he can go rest because of this big feat he just did. So not only did he destroy a void, an entire void that encompassed the whole entire universe that he was in, but he also reverted time back from 1 year before it was destroyed, and then it can flow normally. And made time flow normally, getting rid of the void entirely. So now the narrator also says something else that will be. Evan says something else. The narrator says something else. Evan, now able to stand on floating air, he streaks over to Naomi, staring at her in disbelief. She begins to disappear from existence. Because she used her Pillar 9 state, she begins to perish. She doesn't quite perish, but she is starting to fade away. But she's beginning to pretty much disappear from existence. So what Edvin ends up doing is that he ends up going over what actually is happening. Edvin says something like this: "It looks like you were, in fact, right. You were not the right woman for this task." And he says, "Doppelganger." And Naomi says this: "What do you mean, doppelganger? Do you mean there are more people out there that are like me?" And Evan ends up going over this with her, saying, "No, actually, you are the one that is a doppelganger of someone I know. Well, knew. You are a beacon of the person I was supposed to be led to, which means that I need to bring back my universe in order to bring back Sky." Naomi says, "Who is Sky?" Evan says she is the person that was supposed to be reincarnated into that body. And now I get to save her, my wife. Under his breath, finally. Wait, what? Is what Naomi says. And then he uses something called Crystalline Time Hex, or Crux of Resurrection. This hex seals away life into a crystal crux in order to give it to someone else. And that's what narrator says. And then Evan finally says, "It's finally time to bring back the right one this time. My wife." And that's where it ends. Now, there's a lot to unfold from this and why I chose to do this, but it was already inevitable to happen. Because it just was inevitable to happen with everything that's going on, and making a character like this was very hard. But now we got two people from two different types of perspective that are going to be in this body of skies instead. Instead of, in the third episode, turning Sky into a celestial being, she will already be one when he gives her this Philosopher's Stone. When she accepts this Philosopher's Stone, she'll be brought into this world as the Overseer Goddess. And that's what's going to end up happening. Inevitably going to happen anyway. But that's all I really got to really talk about for this fourth episode. If you would like to read over it, comment down below. And if you would like to join into the cause, we are actually on my Facebook channel. We are doing a voiceover as well, a voiceover episode for episode 1 to see how it goes, and it will be next Saturday on the 28th. So hope to see you guys there. And guys, my name is Evan Alphonse here. I'm signing off for today. But till next time, guys, I'll see you in the next live stream.